All right, I got a question here from Tamara, which is, we get a lot of member signups coming in each month, and some or quite a few of those leads are dud leads. Do you or anyone know an effective method to quickly review and refine lists regularly? I've created a process with our team who handles these leads, but it all feels quite manual. Perhaps that's how it needs to be, but wanted to ask if anyone's got a hack. Now, I love this question, Tamara, but I actually have a follow-on question. Well, I'm gonna make an assumption here. And if this is not a correct assumption, feel free to ping me on Slack and I can record another video with a different response. But I'm gonna assume that when you're talking about leads here, you're talking about some kind of product or sales lead.
Rosa, we have a lead. We finally have a lead.
A lead that will result in some kind of commercial investment or someone paying you money. I'm assuming that this is not a lead for a hackathon or an event or something along those lines. But again, correct me if I'm wrong on that on Slack. So I want to share a few things that I've learned over the course of my career of how companies do this. This is actually how I do this as well with the Community Leadership Core. So let me swing over to my desk here. Now, I think there's kind of basically 3 components that we need to bear in mind here, okay?
Only 3?
So let's get these on the board. 1, 2, and 3. The first one is we've got to get really clear on who your ICP is. Like, who is your ideal customer profile, which we'll get to in a moment. The second is going to be a marketing qualified lead. And then the third one is going to be a sales qualified lead. Okay, now this is how it typically works with most businesses that I've worked with. Again, this is how I do it in my business.
Shepherd, take note.
So your ICP is going to be who is your audience, and we get as granular as we can, and we ideally identify things that we can detect in some kind of automated fashion, right? Which is going to feed into the MQL piece in just a moment. So I'll give you an example with the Community Leadership Core. Right, and this is, as I record this video right now, this may change in the future moving forward.
The worst part is it is constantly changing.
But as a general rule, when I think of my ICP, it's going to be, right now I'm focusing, and this again will change in the future. Right now I'm primarily focusing on people with some kind of tech product, right? That they've got at least 1 staff member, that they have generally between 10 to 500 staff, right, in their company, and that they are doing usually kind of above 1 million a year ARR. And then the final one here is that they're based basically in the West, right? So United States, Europe, United Kingdom, Israel, basically this side of the world. Now, why have I zoned in on this, right? Well, one is people with a tech product are usually most interested in building communities. They need at least 1 staff member to be able to actually implement a lot of the things we're talking about. The ARR and the number of staff is what I've detected from the customers that I've got in CLC, right? Is that most people tend to fall into that bucket. So that's what I'm focusing on right now. And the reason why I want people generally focused on the West is actually a bad way of describing it. I'm going to cross that out. This is really from kind of USA all the way over to Israel. Did I spell Israel right? Okay. See, I get very self-conscious about certain words, and I think I spelled it right, but I'm not sure if I did. Now, if you want to build an amazing community around your product or service, you should totally check out my Community Leadership Core Accelerator. This is where we provide hands-on coaching, training, and accountability that's all tailored exactly to your company's needs, and it helps you to deliver clear, consistent results every quarter with way less stress and frustration. If you're interested in finding out more, click on the link down there in the video description, where you can book a call with us and we can listen to what you want to achieve, what problems you're having, and we can provide you some really concrete next steps on that call, okay? Anyway, the reason why I have that there is because that's basically the time zone that people can that people are going to be able to comfortably join our huddles, right? If you're based in Pakistan, if you're based in China, you're probably not going to be joining the huddles because it's going to be in the middle of the night.
Time isn't on our side.
Now, why am I defining this? right? Because if I define this, it helps to guide the marketing qualified lead. So this is going to be the piece that I think you're referring to here tomorrow, which is how do I make sure that of everybody, you know, I have all of these people kind of coming in, right, through social media, and I've got people coming in through YouTube and through email and through introductions and all this kind of stuff. They all kind of feed in. And what I do is I feed them through this filter of an ICP to figure out, okay, which people map as much of this as possible, and then if they do, then they kind of get qualified as a marketing qualified lead. Now, how I do this is I for example, have a survey when people want to book a call with me, so I can ask them about, you know, how many staff members do they have, right? I can actually detect using my CRM, Atio, I can detect if they've got, how many staff they've got or what their ARR is. And I ask them in the survey what their primary location is, right? I do ask them a little bit about what their service is, just, you know, what their product is. So I basically gather this stuff up front, and then if, you know, a certain amount of criteria is met here, then they become a marketing qualified lead, right? And that's what I would recommend most directly for what you're exploring here, is you detect as much of this as possible through the lightest mechanism possible. Like for me, it's a survey, and then I use Atio to kind of detect some of these pieces, because Atio has got a whole bunch of enriched data from the internet. And then that helps me to qualify them. So when somebody appears in my pipeline as a call, for example, as a lead, they've met the marketing qualified lead criteria, right? They've met the ICP. And then what happens is when I get on a call, right? So I get on a call with them, this is when I qualify them as an actual lead, right? And if they, you know, so if I get on a call with them and it turns out, yes, they do, I actually validate this information, because some people might say that they've got, like one guy I spoke to the other day put in the survey that he's got 5 staff members, and it turned out that he lied in the survey and doesn't actually have 5 staff members, right? So he was a marketing qualified lead, but he wasn't an actual lead. You really kind of have to get on a call to qualify someone properly as a sales qualified lead. But usually the way most companies operate is once you get to an MQL, you can hand that over to the sales team and they will qualify them. That's how it works with most companies that I've worked with. I do it all myself because CLC is, you know, is a young program at this point. But in the future, I will hire some SEs who will do this. But that's how I like to approach it. So, you know, this piece I think is the main thing that we're talking about with what you're interested in here tomorrow. And I would definitely recommend get crisp on what the ICP is, automate as much as you can the detection of the MQL. If you want to get into specifics about that, this would be a great conversation for us to have on Slack, right? And for us to really dig into with the group, because I'm sure a lot of people will be interested in this as well.